Now we're going to continue the prone technique, starting with the hips. We just finished thumbing down the sacrum. So now we do the hip squeeze. This is definitely a chicken wing move. So it's going to be with the heels of my hands, and my fingertips are going to face each other, and I go right into the hollows of the glutes. One here and one here. And then now just lean straight down. You okay? So I'm leaning straight down, and then it squeezes by itself. And then from here, I'm going to be doing we have 2 elbowing techniques in this whole body sequence. And the first one is the hips. So we have 2 lines, and they are both in the gluteal area. So one will be just beside the sacrum is the shorter line. You go just below the bone. And if I could draw a line just to where my tailbone would start. So it's right here. That's line 1. Line 2 goes right down the middle of the glutes from just under the iliac crest again, and it goes all the way down to the crease. And for the elbowing for the hips is done on the same side of the body. So my mother hand, as we talked about, the mother hand always rests closest to the hara, and the child hand is the working hand. It's the hand that plays and does the actions. So my mother hand, because I'm going to be working with the closest elbow, my mother hand is my upper hand that's closest to the client's head, will rest right over their hara, the back of their hara. And then I'm going to, I want a soft forearm. It looks like I'm using my whole forearm, but I'm, leaning into the elbow. So I'm doing here's line 1, here's line 2. I'm starting with line 1. And I just lean perpendicularly straight down. I'm not leaning over this way or this way. It's straight down towards the elbow point. And then I walk down line 1. And again, it's slow, rhythmic. Our goal is not to go as deep as possible. It can be deep, but that's not the goal, especially not when we're beginning. And so again, this is line 2. I'm starting at the top just under the iliac crest. Actually, I could go a little bit higher. There we go. And I walk down line 2. And I'm again leaning from the hara. And then I can continue palming down the rest of the leg. My mother hand stays where it is, a nice flat palm. I can also use a dragon's mouth, which is like this, but that's more intensive on the thumb, so I would use it on the front side of the thigh, but you could use a dragon's mouth pressure, or just the straight palm is what I would recommend. And again, we're leaning into the eye of the palm into a soft hand, and the surface we're aiming for is the back of the leg. I'm just going to walk down. Then I lightly skip over the back of the knee, and as I do the calf, I can add a little squeeze of the fingers to the palming. Now, if my client was very tall and I were short, and I'm starting to go like this to reach, I can change my mother hand to be a little lower, as long as it's the hand that's closer to the hara. In this case, I don't have to do that, but that's an adaptation you might want to remember. Okay. Now I'm at the ankle. Now we have the 3-way stretch. If you really want to be slick, you can just keep the mother hand where it is, slip your hand under the ankle, and bend it into a right angle, and then I'm going to do this. We're going to use the heel of our hand to maneuver the foot. And I'd say it's like, stop in the name of love. So I'm just doing this. And my fingers are not gripping and pulling. They're just relaxing over the toes. And Sam's foot tends to sickle. This is sickling. I don't want to push it this way. So I'm going to use my forearm to guide it a little bit more, so that I'm not going like this. Okay, so mother hand's back. So first the heel goes right towards the same side of the hip. take it out of gear, then you move the heel towards the opposite hip. And you only go as far as they allow you to, their muscles allow you to. And then the third one is the heel is going towards the same side shoulder, not any further out, or to the outside of the hip. So that's the three-way stretch. From here, this is our trickiest move. First I'm going to drop my client's arm off the side of the table because I'm going to loop their leg out to the side like this. And how I do that is my inside hand slips down to the inside of their knee, of the client's knee, and that automatically leaves their ankle braced or, supported by my elbow, inside my elbow. My other hand will slip under and I make a little sling under the knee. And then I'm going to swing out sideways using my legs. I'm in a small lunge. My front leg is about at the hip. And so I'm going to swing it out to the side. And then I'm going to support under the knee and take the heel and give it a little push up so that it's at a right angle or a little more. Now, Sam, is that comfortable for you, or is it pulling in the front of the hip? It's okay. A thumbs up. If your client is very tight in the groin, in the adductors, I'm going to roll you up a little bit on your side. You can ask them, or I'm taking Sam's knee and his ankle, supporting his ankle, and I'm also bracing with my thigh at the knee at this moment because I'm still positioning. I can push my client up a little bit on their side, so then it won't bother their groin, and you can continue with the techniques. Since he didn't mind, I'm going to put him flat again. All right, this is the tricky part. We want to work on, maybe I'll do it on the other side also to show something. We want to work on the outside top of the thigh and the inside of the calf, right? We don't want to be pushing into the femur, and we don't want to be shoving into the shin. So, and I still want my mother hand. So my mother hand comes here, or if you're short, it can come on the hip. I start out with my client's knee more or less between my legs and my feet about hip width apart. So my mother hand and my fingertips are going to face each other. This is our little trick. And now I'm exactly where I want to be. And so now and you can shift your hips a little this way. So now I'm going to be and I'm not leaning into the hara. I'm just placing my hand there. So I'm just palming down that back of the thigh to the knee. And now when I want to go down the calf, I'm going to flip my hips and my hand like this. So now I'm going to palm down the soft part of the calf, so I'm not jamming into the tibia. All the way to the ankle. So once again, positioning is, as a starting point. You can go a little bit like this or like this. But as a starting point, I start more or less with the knee pointing between my legs. My feet are about this wide apart. I make my fingers face each other. The top hand goes on the hara, the lower hand is my child hand, and it's going to do the pressure down the back of the thigh. Then when I get to the knee, I swivel my hips and my hand goes with me, my fingertips go out, and I palm down the back of the calf. Okay. And now I support under the knee and under the ankle to straighten the leg out. And make sure that I didn't crush the kneecap into the table. One more little point. So when I loop the leg out to the side, a lot of times people get nervous because they think, oh, a right angle, that's really far. But what happens is if I'm here, then it's really pulling my groin. As it goes past the 90 degrees, my hip rotates in the socket, and then my adductors can relax more up here than they can out here. So that's why we bring it up to 90 degrees or a little higher if possible. Okay.